Hello and welcome to Color Up. Today I'm going to talk about the come bet versus place bets. Now, it's a pretty controversial topic. Everyone has opinion on which one is better. Today I'm going to give you all the information I have about both bets and then let you decide. All right, let's start with some advantages on the come bet. Now, you're going to win on the first roll of a come bet with a 7-11, lose on the 2, 3, and 12. That is a 2-to-1 advantage. That is a significant advantage. Another thing nice about a come bet is it works as a little hedge. Let's say you have a pass bet and the point moves up to anything, whatever. Let's say it's a 6. Now you follow it up with a come bet and you 7 out. You're going to lose your pass line, but you're going to win in the come. So it works a little bit as a hedge, you know, when it's initially in there. Another advantage of the come bet is once you move up to a number, you can add odds to it. Now, if you're going to play 5 times or more odds, it's going to pay more than an equivalent size bet on the place bet. We'll talk more about the payouts in a minute. But if you're going to play 5 or more odds, you're going to get paid better on the come bet. Okay, probably the number one biggest advantage the come bet has is the house edge. With a come bet, you're only facing a house edge of 1.4%. Let's say it comes up to a number and you add odds to it. The odds are added. They're paid at their true odds, so it's a 0% house edge. So actually that 1.4% house edge, the average, when you average together with the 0, it actually lowers. So you're looking at a 1.4 or lower house edge when you're betting the come with odds. Now the 6 and 8, you're at 1.5%, 4%, 6.7%. Now you can buy the outside numbers and lower the house edge, but you're never going to get down to a 1.4 or lower once you add the odds. So long term, the come bet is always going to beat the place bets as far as the house edge goes. So let's say you're running a simulator, you run 1,000,000 bets, you're always going to lose, and this is just a mathematical fact, you're going to lose in the long run less money betting the come than you are going to be the place bets. All right, let's talk about the place bets a little bit. Now, let's say you're in the come and you want to pick a number. Which number would you pick? Well, most likely you'd pick the 6 and 8, right? The greatest chance of winning, followed by the 5 and 9. Well, with the come, you don't get to choose which number you go up on. You may roll a 10 and be moved up to the 10. Well, that's an advantage of the place bet. If you want to place the 6 or the 8, you go right on it. 5 and 9, whatever you want. You pick your numbers and go right onto it. Another great thing about the place bets versus a come bet, let's say this is a come bet player and this player has placed the 6. There's already a point of 4, let's say. Well, the 6 rolls, you get paid first on the very first time it's rolled. So this 6 is going to get paid 7, and this come bet is just now moving up. Another, you could add odds if you want, but another 6 rolls, you're getting paid for a second time on this 6, whereas this come bet is just going to get paid for the first time. Another advantage is when this come bet gets paid, it comes down. So at this point, you can collect your winnings, but you don't have a 6 anymore. With the place, you're still rocking and rolling. So you could, well, at this point I'm only at 5, but you could press it up, you could remove it if you like. You have a lot of different options. If you're up at 2 units, you can regress it down to a unit. The come bet, I got to make another come bet, I got to roll another 6, and then I got to roll another 6 to win again. So with the place, you're going to win on the first hit. Come bets, you're going to be winning every other hit. Let's put our comeback better in the 6 and go ahead and have our place better on the 6. Our point's 4. Our shooter rolls a 4, it gets turned off. Now, the place bets are off when the puck's off. This come bet, because you had such a big advantage on the initial roll, you had the 2-to-1 advantage, it's a contract bet. You could never turn this off. It's got to win or lose. Okay, so the puck's off. What are you rooting for? Or most people on the table, you're making pass line bets. On the come out roll, you're hoping for that 7, right? Well, you're rooting for the 7, but that's actually a loser for you. So a 7 rolls, your place bet is off, it's protected. This come bet is going to be a loser. Now, if you have odds on the place bet, that's okay. The odds are off, they'll be returned to you, but again, your flat bet's going to lose. Now, you do have the option to turn it on. You can ask the dealer to turn it on, so if you have a place bet with some odds, or I'm sorry, a come bet with some odds, you can turn those on and have them working. Same with the place bet. You can always have it working. So if you do roll a 6 on the come out, you would win these bets. But you roll in a 7, this one's protected by default, and this one is unprotected. You're going to lose you're going to get your odds returned to you. Your come bet, though, is going to be a loser. One more thing I want to cover before I get to the payoffs of a come versus a place bet is higher minimum limit tables. As you know, if you've seen a lot of my videos, I'm a low roller. I'm always looking for that $5 table. Sometimes I'm in a city where I have no option. I have to play a $15 table, right? Okay, the minimum's $15 bet. So I'm already pushing it. I'm going to make a $15 come bet. It's going to come up to the 9. All right, I can place that bet and meet the minimum requirements for also 15. I'm in a predicament now. I'm way over my head betting $15. I don't want to add any odds to this. Sure, it's a great bet at 0% house edge, but I'm more likely to lose than I am to win. So I don't want to play odds. I can't afford the odds, right? So this 9, this 15 is going to pay 21 and stay working. I've paid for my bet. I've got a little profit and it's still working. This $15 come bet, it's going to come down and I'm going to get paid 1-to-1 or $15. So obviously I'm getting paid more and I still have a bet working with the place bet. The come's down and I got to come back through the come to get another number. Now for me, it just doesn't make sense. Whenever I'm at a higher table that I really don't have the bankroll to play, I can't play the come, because if you're going to play the come, you really got to be playing the odds to make it even fair. So for me, higher minimum tables, I'm going place bet. All right, I mentioned earlier that you have to pay 5 times in odds or higher to get paid more than a place bet. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's just start on the 10 just to make it easy. You got a $5 come bet, comes up to the 10, and let's say you put 4 times in odds, right? 20 bucks. Okay, you're going to play, that's a $25 bet or investment. Let's go ahead and make a place bet. Let's do it cleanly. Let's make a place bet for $25. Okay, the 10's going to hit. You're going to come down. Your flat bet's going to get paid 5. Your $20 odds bet is going to get paid 2-to-1, or the true odds, or $40. So you have a profit for your $25 bet of $45. Now with the place bet at $25, that's also going to play 9 to 5 or $45. So you're at the same, right? The only trick is with the, as a lot of you guys know, if you're going to be playing the outside numbers and you're at betting at this level, you're going to buy the number, which doesn't affect anything except for the payout. So instead of getting paid $45, you're going to get paid $50 minus $1 commission, so you'd get $49. So you're going to get paid $49 versus $45, but even if you place it, you're going to win $45 versus the come bet at $45. So that's the same at 4 times odds. Now once you get to 5 times odds, you start making a little more money. But if you go down to 3 times odds, you actually win more money if you're betting the same amount on all the numbers. It doesn't matter which number. 3 times, 4 times, some of them, you make $1 less, but 4 times it's going to be the same, unless you're buying, which you should be if you're out here. 3 times, 2 times, 1 times odds, you're always going to get paid more on the place bets. So unless you're playing 5 times odds or more, again, you're going to get paid more on the place bets. Now stick around for part 2 of this video. I'm going to do a live roll and kind of compare the two. Just roll a hand and compare come versus place bet. But in summary, if you have a large bankroll and you're playing for the long term, the come bet is the way to go. You're going to lose less, significantly less in the long run if everything plays out to probability. Over a long term, you're much better off, significantly less lower house edge playing the come in odds. But you say, well, I don't play a long term. I play, 3 hours. I play 3 days. And that's an excellent point. In that case, and that's where the decision comes in. You're playing short term. Anything could happen. Either one could work out. So maybe you want to be and you're a minimum player like I am, in that case you might want to play just the place bets, because you're going to get paid more and you're not worrying about the house edge as much when you're playing short term. So it's really a decision up to you. Larger bankroll, you're playing consistently, you probably want to stick with the come bet and odds. It's a great bet. If you're playing short term or have a smaller bankroll, you really might want to consider the place bets. So I hope that helped you out a little bit. I know thinking through the process helps me a little bit. And depending on the situation, I'll play it different ways. But again, stick around for my next video and I'm going to play it out and we'll see how it stacks up against each other. It's going to be obviously a short-term roll, so anything can happen, but we'll give it a try and we can see how the numbers change hands and that sort of thing. So thank you for watching, and until next time, good luck on coloring up.